Hello, I'm Alistair Cooper and welcome to the PlanningGame.com 7 Free Strategies series. Thank you for sparing the time to join us, and I hope you'll learn some clever strategies that will help you go on in your career to win the planning game. So firstly, let's have a look at strategy number 1. And somewhat flippantly, I've called it Get a Strategy, because it's really important in the planning game to have a clear, focused strategy and a clear plan of where you intend to head. So let's have a look. Well, firstly, a bit about me. I'm Alistair Cooper, as I just said. I was elected as a councillor in St Albans back in 1997, and whilst I was a councillor, I was served on what was known as the Planning Committee. They have various titles: Development Control, Plan Central, whatever, but they all basically have the same function. And basically they're a collection of local councillors and officers from the council that meet together and they decide on applications, generally only the larger ones and more controversial applications, or applications for development where someone's raised a number of objections. I chaired that committee for 2 years, and during that time I helped to decide on hundreds of applications, both from ranging from small residential extensions right up to a new cinema and major housing developments. So where's the planning game got me? Well, I started back in 2002 with only £2,000. As I say, I'd served on the planning committee prior to this, and I saw an opportunity for a classic corner plot. You'll learn later in the series what a classic corner plot really is. I lived in the property in order to mitigate the tax, and then when I moved on to another property I let it out. I just continued this process really, and I purchased more and more. There's a slight warning here though, watch your cash flow. If you buy too many properties at once and you let them out, and if interest rates rise or if you have voids, then you may well have problems in funding those mortgages every month. I've always managed to fund my mortgages, but some months it's been more painful than others, I should say. Anyway, I've built my equity now up to £1.3 million. So where am I heading, you may ask? Well, current projects I'm undertaking now will take my portfolio to a valuation of just over £5 million. My equity then will build to 2.2 million. So as you can see already, by developing your sites rather than just the traditional buy-to-let strategies, you can end up with much less gearing, as we call it, i.e. you'll be borrowing a much lower percentage of your overall portfolio than you would be if you were just purchasing buy-to-lets and hoping that the market would constantly increase. So where am I going now? Well, I'm looking now to get involved in more joint ventures. There's plenty of people out there just like yourselves who see opportunities and perhaps need a helping hand and need a partner in order to bring those developments to fruition, and also for financial reasons as well. You know, two deep pockets are better than one. Basically, it gives me more leverage and allows me to go on and look and develop larger projects and more exciting projects. So I guess the first strategy is, where are you heading? I mean, why have you taken the time to listen to this series, I guess, is my first question to you. Are you currently a buy-to-let landlord and you've built up a reasonable portfolio and you feel you're in a bit of a rut? Or have you been looking for below market value opportunities and perhaps you've not been successful in finding any, or perhaps you've already built up a reasonable portfolio and just want to take your career to the next step? So what do you need to do in order to take that next step? Well, you need to commit to learning. And how do you do that? Well, you do it by doing, so i.e. getting involved in small developments to start with, building up your skills, building up your confidence more importantly. And how do you boost that even further? Well, you watch other people. You watch people like me, you watch other people, even your local area, that are carrying on developments. Ask questions, track the progress of these developments. And keep your eyes open to every opportunity. Just take a walk in your local area, an area that you've known well, and just see what's changed in recent years. Which properties have been extended? Which properties have been demolished and replaced with either blocks of flats or further properties? Where have additional detached or semi-detached properties been squeezed in, what we call infill, or nowadays called brownfield developments? There's plenty of opportunities out there, and what I would say is don't necessarily look too far afield. If you're based in Brighton, don't necessarily look for your first project in Newcastle, for example. There's more than enough opportunities just within the streets around where you currently live. The key is having the discipline to find them and to take them through from concept stage through to fruition. The planning game is a long road, but the beauty of it has a great destination. There really is an incredible amount of money to be made in developing property in the UK. There's more and more people coming into the UK. We're not building anywhere near enough houses or flats for that matter, to satisfy current demand in many areas. So demand will continue to outstrip supply. That only means one thing: higher and higher prices. And you need to develop the mindset of a property developer. Developing a property for profit is very different from extending your own residential house and refurbing something to your own tastes. You really need to understand the market. You're developing a product here, just like developing a new retail product for a supermarket. You need to understand what the market will stand, what the market wants, and most importantly, what the market's willing to pay. Join me on this journey and help to develop the mindset of a property developer. So what are the rules to this game? Well, the deal must stack in more ways than one. What do I mean by this? Well, any deal you look at, there must be a clear exit strategy. So I think, for example, there must be 2 or 3 ways in which you could profit from the deal. If there's only one way you can profit from a deal, then I would say it's a bad deal. So for example, if you're looking at a property that's, say, on the market for £200,000 and it would cost you £50,000 to extend and develop, and you think you could sell it for £300, well, there's one strategy. But what happens if you don't get the planning permission, or there's other reasons why you can't develop that site? Could you, for example, spend £3,000 giving the property a quick makeover and sell it for £220? Well, if that's the case, you have an exit strategy, so you have 2 strategies. This leads me on to risk management. It's most important in the planning game to understand risk and to eliminate as much risk as possible. My best deals are always sourced below market value, and they also have at least 2 or 3 ways in which I could profit from that deal. By following that system, I can reduce my risk down to an absolute minimum, because the planning game is totally unpredictable. And that's what I mean by that, is you could put the same application in on 2 different days and have it accepted by one officer one day and rejected by another officer the next. So don't assume you can always get planning permission. You'll learn this as you come on the journey with me and learning more about the planning game. Self-belief. Really believe that you can achieve it. You'll only do that by building up your knowledge and building up your experience. It may seem daunting to you at the moment to think that within a few years' time you could build up a £5 million property portfolio with £2 or £3 million of equity. So start small and build up your expectations. Learn to juggle and deal with challenges that you'll face on a day-to-day basis. These may be just as simple as running out of materials and not being able to get one particular kitchen cabinet to finish a kitchen, or minor things like that, right up to balancing financial stress, which is something you'll need to learn if you're going to win the planning game. And always focus on your end goal. Remember why you're in the planning game, why you want to achieve what you want to achieve, and focus on that end goal. These challenges that may seem major to you on a day-to-day basis will all seem very minor if you keep focused on the end goal. What I'd like to talk to you briefly about now is a one-day workshop I have coming up. Now, why do I do these? Because you may say I'm making plenty of money out of the planning game anyway. Well, I do them because I've come to the stage now where I want to share my experiences with others, try and impart some of the knowledge I've built up with you, and to help you on your way to achieving success in the planning game, and hopefully on some projects bringing me along with you as a joint venture partner. So what's the workshop all about? Well, for a start with, it's a workshop. It's really practical, not just board and chalk, as some people say. It's not just me dictating to you for 10 hours on a subject that can sometimes seem tedious. What we do is we take you step by step through the process, help to break down all the jargon that's associated with planning permission and obtaining development permission. We want to take you hand by hand and give you guidance to achieve your goals. It's most important that we help you to achieve what you want to achieve out of the planning game, and help you to learn that all you need to succeed immediately. When you leave our one-day workshop, we want you to have a briefcase full of skills and the confidence to go out there tomorrow, see opportunities and develop them into profitable developments. I hope to see you on the workshop soon, but join me again soon for Strategy 2 in the 7 free strategy series.